lab. This is chemistry. I go by the name of Miles. Over there is
Marcel the Maker.
Marcel the Maker. We're sticking with it.
I'm
Yes.
going with it for now.
Hey, why not, man? Eminem in the building. And today's special guest is Dolapo.
That's what he does? Yeah. He's got to get it out of the system.
Whoa.
Man.
All right.
Love that intro, man.
Hey, brother, man. How you doing out here?
Never gets old.
What's going on? What's going on? I promise this is not open. This is just him. That's his energy. Okay.
Not a lick is in him. It's just his natural. Man, Dolapo is a executive producer, filmmaker out here in the great city of Atlanta. Man, we about to get into his shit.
All right.
Yeah,
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. I'm doing real good.
Nah, you dressed nice, man.
Yeah, man, you looking fancy.
Yeah, like
Okay. Were you talking to me or were you talking
to him.
No,
I
got sweatpants on.
What? This guy rolled out of bed and said, "Oh, I guess I'm gonna do a podcast today."
You guys
Like
boy,
he
they
didn't
don't-
give
they
a
don't-
fuck.
Hey, they don't hold any punches. They just swing it.
See,
All
now y'all can't see below this. I don't know why you bringing that up, but you know.
right, I'm ready for it though.
No, yeah, man, you look nice, man. You got the cap on, the chain is nice and tight knit,
That's
brother.
how we doing. Representing the home country. Yeah.
Represent. Where you from?
Nigeria.
Nigerian, brother, in the building. Do you speak any of the dialect?
Yoruba.
That's what it's called.
That's what it's called.
Do you speak it?
I speak it. I mean, yeah.
Okay, well,
I mean, we can't test you, so.
You know, before the audience sit there and say, nah, you ain't even say that right. Man, okay, so let's start on your journey, man. So how did you get into the filmmaking world? Like, how did we start? Where did you say, okay, hey, you know what? I want to start making films.
As in tradition in the culture, you got to come bearing gifts. So I came bearing some gifts. So mind if we break it open? It's like a little ritual that I do when we pop. Is that all right?
Yeah, absolutely,
man. So what we do is we bless the bottle. Even if it just...
I learned this like when I was 22.
Right,
yeah,
so
man.
we bless the bottle, we open it up. We're representing 1942 today. And so I'm going to pour a little bit just so that we can get started.
Hey, man, bless the room.
Is that
all right? Brother, that's more than all right. You are my new favorite person. Wow.
Right.
Man, we popping bottles on chemistry,
That
baby.
is crazy.
So
Whoa.
I'm a lightweight.
Please.
It's not light at all.
Hey,
Look at him, man.
Come on now.
Man, that guy woke up with liquor in his system.
I did. Didn't even drink my coffee yet. Wow, this is crazy.
All right, we're going to do this.
Okay.
Guy.
I'm going to do this. All right. I was ready. Okay.
Man, your chaser is alcohol? This guy has a problem.
I got a little bit. All right, cheers.
Cheers.
There we go.
Hey,
No, you're not drinking.
yes, cheers,
this is
man.
What we doing.
Come on,
Come
man.
on, man. It's a podcast now.
All right.
Holy
So
crap.
let's start. Let's go. I'm ready.
Yes, so your filmmaking journey, man. How did we venture into that? How did you start
Filmmaking
off?
journey. Like I said, I'm Nigerian, but I grew up in Chicago.
Okay, Chi-Town.
And Chi-Town in the house, man. Love Chicago.
Do you have a favorite Chicago artist?
Kanye.
I was going to answer that for you. Yeah, that's
man.
crazy.
I mean,
It could be anybody, but you know.
It could have been Kanye. Wow. All right.
Yeah, one of my favorite artists of all time.
What's your
outside
favorite
Chicago.
Kanye song?
Through the Wire. Through the Wire, man.
Okay, and we'll get back to it, but late registration, dropout, or graduation?
I love them all, but probably late registration.
Yes, come on. Yes.
But I mean, all that stuff's a classic.
Supposed to be
man,
graduation,
Come on,
man.
man.
Graduation.
Bring me down.
Graduation.
Slow mo. Come on, man.
All right, man.
bro.
Graduation is that's the one, man.
I can't really argue. It's a great album.
Right, it's
But-
it's like all these arguments
Yeah,
is like, well, they're all great fucking albums, but it's like,
It's like, I'm with you. Yeah.
Okay, all right. From Chi-Town, what you got, man? How you get into it?
All right. Let's see. I actually started out as an actor. So I was acting. I did a lot of big plays in Chicago. Did the McCormick House, a bunch of lead roles, and I knew I was going to be the next big, actor.
As we all do. I feel you.
Confidence.
And my dad, did something that was incredible. What he did was, the year that I graduated from high school in the summer, he sent us either to Nigeria or London. So he sent me to London.
Wow.
But he didn't send me with a lot of money.
Did your dad, he has money? Mm-hmm. He chose not to, though.
He chose not to because I said I wasn't going to go to college. I said I was going to be an actor.
Oh.
So after high school, I said I'm not going to college. I know what I want to do. I'm going to be an actor. I'm gonna blow it up. So he's, each year, if we made the grades, he would send us either to Nigeria or Great Britain. So this year I chose London, and he sent me there without a lot of money, and he told my aunt not to give me a lot of money. So I want to say after 2 weeks, I ran out of money.
Dang.
And I called him, and he said, no. He said,
how long you was there?
Well, I was there for the summer, so that was
like
a few
3
months.
Damn.
But 2 weeks out of money.
Yeah.
Instructed my aunt not to give me any money, so I was just there. And while I was there, man, I got the epiphany that I better go to school because I ain't got no money. So when I called him, I said, yes, I'm ready to go to college. So I shelved all of my aspirations in the film world, and I just said, I'm gonna go to school, and that's what I ended up doing.
At 18, you said?
18, 19, I gave it up. I just started grinding in school.
Damn.
So did your dad do that purposefully, knowing that's what was going to happen?
Yeah,
or
just parents know, so he knew exactly what he was doing. He was like,
expensive good test, you know what I mean? Like, if you can afford to do that test, it's a good test for your kids, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not even trying to be funny. That's good, Because most people out here is just out on the streets and come back in the bag, that was good.
Yeah, I ended up going to college, man, and finishing.
What'd you go to college for?
I went for business. I went all the way up and got my PhD.
Damn.
So I've been...
You do that in business? I thought we stopped at MBA. That's crazy.
So
wow.
So you're a doctor, like you have a doctorate.
Yeah, I have
in business. Wow.
I have a doctorate. I have a doctorate in, I was in the healthcare industry, so I ran clinical trials for infectious diseases. I left healthcare, and now I'm doing film.
Yeah, you got
That's
an
interesting transition.
Yeah,
it is.
Why leave healthcare? Because that is actually a very lucrative
it is,
industry.
but you got to figure out. I think I was at the point in my career where I wanted to do something that that didn't feel like work.
Yeah.
And at the time I was involved with someone who was heavy in the industry. She was an actress, or is an actress. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna learn the business with her and help her out, and then it blossomed to where I am.
So you were dating her while you were in the healthcare industry.
Yeah.
And so, from dating her, actually, is that relationship traumatized for you? I don't want to go down that road. It's
open. It's cool.
Oh,
okay. So, did you know she was how did y'all meet? You know what I'm saying? How did those two paths cross? From being in the healthcare industry and then her being...
Well, we met prior. So I met her when I was... shout out to Kennesaw State. I met her while I was in Kennesaw State doing my master's, and she was coming in as a freshman. And we didn't date then. We just knew each other. I did a lot of parties, so she came to all the parties.
Okay.
And then she left school, and then she ended up going on Puffy's Making the Band.
Okay.
And then she made and started touring and doing her thing, and then she was in a bunch of movies. So we lost contact, and then maybe I want to say 12, 13 years later we ran into each other. By then she was an established actress, and I was in the healthcare industry, and I was just like, I need a change, and the planets kind of lined up, and I just said, you know what, this is what I'm going to do.
Okay, so it's just solely out of her, I guess, just being in the industry, you were looking at it and you said, okay, I'm going to just make this transition.
Well, she kind of told me that she didn't want me to travel because while I was doing it, I was traveling a lot. So she was like, if this thing is going to work, you got to do something else.
Sit the fuck down.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's how.
So that was you sitting down.
That was me. Well, let me back up. So what happened was she said, I got to travel less. So I ended up starting a business locally, and then while we were spending time with her, while I was spending time with her, I started from a business aspect, tried to help her in certain areas, and I would look over a contract, I'd be like, yo baby, I don't think this is right, you're not doing this, they should be doing that.
How do you have the confidence to say that? Not knowing the industry.
Because business is business.
Facts.
So I don't pretend to be a creative. So I didn't step in her realm of being a creative, being an actress. But when they sent me the contract, I can break a contract down, and I'm like, hey, this doesn't read right. So from a business standpoint, I was able to add value, and then that parlayed into what I was doing.
What kind of things did you see like in her contract, like that you may notice even to the day that they like try to do to like
Get
newer
people,
act, you know, try to get you if you're not reading the contract? What kind of things they put in there?
So, a lot has to do with money, and a lot has to do with how you set yourself up in a contract. So, for example, I'm not saying everyone does this, and I'm not attacking anyone in the industry. I'm just talking about my own personal experience. So I have to put that discllmer out. I don't want somebody reach it out. But so, for example, if you do a film, and let's say they give you points on the film, right? And you have a manager.
So for those that may not be aware, what are points?
Okay.
Like people in the room, or
No,
you being
people
out there.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. I didn't know if you
know
were
what a point
speaking-
is.
So points are like different ownership in the film.
Right.
So, for example, each film has 100 points.
Okay.
And you could be a work for hire. Let's say you're an actor or an actress. They say, well, I'm going to pay you, I'm making this up, $10,000 for a role. You can take that $10,000, and when the film is over, you're done. That's it. That's the end of your exchange with that film. Some people will say, you know what, instead of giving me $10,000, give me $5,000 and give me 2 points in the film, meaning I own 2% ownership in the film. So every time that film makes $1, you get 2 cents, right? So let's keep with that scenario. So she would bring me a contract, and it would read, let's say she was supposed to get 5 points. And then she would say, I haven't received any residual, meaning those points should be monetized. They should equate to dollars coming in over a period of time, right? If the film does well, you've paid all the investors back. Anything beyond what the film costs and it reaches what we call a break-even standpoint, meaning everything that's owed on the film has been paid, all the extra, which now we identify as profit, is now shared with those individuals who have points or percentages. So she would say, yeah, I haven't received my residuals. So when we look at the contract, it shows that, and I'm making this up, the scenario, because she had several, but it would say the points will go to the manager. The manager would now, so you're my manager, you signed for me, and you get the 5 points, and then you call me up and you're like, yo, D, I'm sending you a check because you got residuals. Now, let's say you're no longer my manager. You get the check. We fell out because you're not my manager anymore. What's the likelihood of you calling me, telling me I got a
Very
residual?
unlikely.
Very unlikely, right? So now it's lost in the abyss. Number one, you don't know. Number two, it's going to be very hard to prove. What people should do is, why are you giving your points through your manager? What you should do, which is what she did the majority of the time, the money goes directly to her, and then I now pay my manager their percentage instead of the manager taking the bulk of the money and giving you the percentage. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense.
Nah, that
sounds
makes-
sticky too.
It is, but a lot of people
for that company, and that it just all
a lot of people lose, some of their residuals and
I think
some
that's
of their business.
like with the format you just said, as far as the money going to the manager. I almost feel like that's normal. I feel like that's almost industry standard, because people, will do TV shows and stuff, and they have to go see their manager for their checks.
Exactly. But that is in the film industry. But in a regular business industry, like I wasn't in the film industry, so I can look at it and say, hey, there's something wrong with this model. Why is it going directly to your manager? And so what I would suggest is, hey, let it come to you. You get the money, then you send them the change.
Which is like, that makes complete fucking sense. Like, literal fucking sense. And I see the wrong of, having it be sent to your manager. But yeah, it's like almost every actor I know, they have to go to like their agent or their manager to get their
well,
checks.
it's changing, and like I said, in some instances, I've seen it where the actor gets their money first, and then they have to send the money out to their agent or their manager. And sometimes they're slow with it, and their manager is like, "Yo, you owe me my 15%, pay it." And so it's the reverse, right? Now they're chasing them down to get their money.
Yeah.
One good model is to use a CAMA account, and a CAMA account is a third-party account that will hold the funds, and per the contract, pay everybody the points that they're supposed to get.
Okay.
And that's
who manages that account?
it's an individual account, and the contract basically manages who gets what. But to answer your question, it's usually the producer who is having the exchange with the CAMA.
Okay.
Okay, so you're looking over your girls like contracts and stuff, and you see where you can help her out and whatnot, and so just from there, that's when you take the initiative of, okay, let me what was the next step? Like, let me start making films, or let me start.
No. It really didn't. It wasn't about me at that point. It was really just about making some recommendations, or whether or not she executed those recommendations. You don't. Those things are kind of sticky. You don't want it because you're making a recommendation that you really know nothing about that industry. So even though it makes good business sense, the first thought is, yo, you don't know anything about the film industry. Why am I listening to you? So I had to be very careful. I would make recommendations, and sometimes she would be like, yo, that made sense, or it would just get lost. The turning point came when she was doing a project, and the P&A piece of the project didn't get funded, meaning the project was completed, but they needed money to do the marketing and all of that, and put in the theatrical and all of that. And so I remember her getting off the phone, and she was visibly upset. I said, "What's going on?" She said, "Well, the P&A didn't come through, so they want us to do guerrilla marketing, and I don't want to do that." And I'm like, "Okay, how can I help?" She said, "Well, they're looking for somebody to, invest in the P&A." I was like, "I'll do it." And then so from that standpoint, I was able to assist with the project. And then, once you start putting your money on a project, you want to learn more and more about the industry.
You get more in tune.
So at that point, I started rolling up my sleeves and doing my homework, and became a little more.
I'm curious did you do that because she was a girl, or because you actually wanted to?
It was more so because she was my girl, and then it was also like a little voice saying, yo, remember what you were doing back in high school? This might be a good opportunity. Now you're not in front of the camera, because I think that window has passed for me, but you can be behind the camera and still be in the industry. So it was a little self-serving for me, but it was also, from a servant to perspective, trying to help her and serve her.
So on that end now, if you're coming in when the project's done and they need, help with money for promotion and advertising, how does that work for you? Like, is that still a position where you're negotiating points and trying to get on the back end, or?
Absolutely, because like I said, business is business. It doesn't matter what vertical. So in the first rule of business, you get what you negotiate, not what you deserve. Nobody's going to be fair, right?
Nobody wants to give you what you think.
Nobody's going to give you what you're supposed to get. You're supposed to fight for it. And if you don't know that up front, then you haven't learned business enough. And I'm not talking directly to you. I'm talking to anybody who'll listen.
You're talking to somebody out there.
You're talking to a lot of people out there.
You've got to negotiate what you deserve. Because if you wait for them to give it to you, you're going to lose. So at that point, it became a negotiation for me. I said, okay, I'll put the P&A, but I want this. And I didn't know what I was asking for, because I didn't really understand. But I said, okay, I know I want a return on my investment. So that's basic, right? An ROI.
Right.
Meaning I want my principal plus a certain percentage on top of that. Then I said, okay, I need ownership in the project. Give me points. So I ended up getting points. Then I said, okay, give me, a title in the project. And so that started the wheel going, I did smaller projects with her, but this was the main one that, kind of got
that really excited. So how did that pan out for you with that specific project?
I made all my money back.
It's like, oh man, what a smile!
It was good. It was really, really good, and it was, and I have to say this with with just a whole bunch of love, because I was dealing with the right people. I was able to help the lady in my life at the time, and from a business aspect, I made all my money back. So it was the trifecta.
Yeah, it seemed like you had a good experience for that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's obviously, you should know now that that's kind of rare.
It is rare. I'm finding that out now. But it doesn't normally happen.
Because I can see how, having that experience be like, well, holy shit, this is great over here, right? Like, wow.
Best in every project. Right?
Yeah, let me do it all for everybody, because such a great time.
So just from a story standpoint of you telling us this story, so why did the original company or whoever back out of P&A? Why did they allow you to even come in and do this?
I think with films, what people don't necessarily, people put a lot of value in the creative aspect. Oh, the writer or the actress or this, or even the operational aspect of it, meaning the director and the crew and this and that. What people always forget is the money. And the money will get you in trouble, because everything is about timing. There's a lot of people that's going to invest in your project, but are they going to invest in your project in the timing for you to make the film festivals, for you to meet a deadline that you've identified with the platform, or whatever the case may be?
Yeah.
Right? So now it's not just money, it's the time in which the money can come in, which at that point, while other people were shuffling their feet, I was able to move quickly. Therefore, they saw value in me, and in return, they gave me, what I asked
Absolutely.
for. And I could have asked for more, but I didn't know what I didn't know.
Yeah.
And
okay, so boom, you're happy. You have a great experience with that first film, doing the P&A. So once again, you're still relatively new in the industry, especially on the behind the scenes. So what's the next step where you're like, okay, well, I'm interested in doing this more, but now what do I do?
Well, in anything, you got to start doing your homework. So, is this an anomaly? Did I get lucky? Which I, honestly, I did. But, I believe so much in her. Any project that she was doing at the time, I knew was going to be successful, because she is a successful artist. So, that made it easy. So now, going outside of projects that she was involved in, I had to do the diligence to find out, okay, what makes sense, or how do I make that decision to invest or not invest, or even go beyond investing and being a true, producer in a project, meaning making sure that, the money is being spent right. Making sure the money is being spent right. We've got the right talent on, doing everything you need to do to make sure it sells, right? Because the creator might have a vision, but it might not be marketable, meaning it might be his vision, but no one else is
Nobody cares.
It can't be commercialized, right? I can't monetize it.
Mm-hmm.
So you're being true to your vision, but at the end of the day, you're the only one that wants to watch it.
Man.
So I have to be
filmmaking hero, man. Like,
no, that's like 90% of the people we run into. Everybody has like, you know, they have their passion projects. Like, oh, I want to make this story about this inner city youth who has Down syndrome, and then this girl comes along and she adopts him, and then they fall in love, and then it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, well, who cares? Like, who wants to see that? And nobody,
pay for a
and then they get mad that nobody wants to see it. It's like, well, this is such a great film. Well, it's like, well, for those 20 people in the world who want to see that type of film, it's like, it's cool, but how is this a marketable film? How can I put this film out to the world and make sure people want to actually see it? And I just feel a lot of filmmakers I come across, and filmmakers in general these days, they don't understand that they all have the creative mindset, and they don't think about the business mindset.
There's an algorithm, you know. Even the networks will tell you they will release a mandate every year saying we want this kind of film, this kind of film. You know, the flavor of the month right now are horror films. If you have a horror film right now, people are loving. All the platforms are loving you.
Every single
I
one.
be trying to tell people, maybe making film just off passion. I'm like, find out what they're looking for. They have,
And then
like their
make that.
mandate. Reverse engineer what you're making.
Exactly.
Like, don't just make what you want to make, you know?
And then Hollywood has a, and when I say Hollywood, I'm talking about Hollywood with all of its tentacles, right? Meaning Hollywood, Nollywood, Black Hollywood, all of it. They have an understanding on what each, talent will produce, right? So if you're trying to sell them a project and you say, yo, I've got this actor in it, this actor in it, this actor in it, they can run an algorithm and say, well, that's only going to make me $500,000.
I remember, I don't know if I've seen it or if I read about it, but yes, I remember seeing or hearing something about like that. Like they'll put it, I don't know if it's like an actual calculator, but they'll put it in a problem and then be like, okay, yeah, this film will probably make this amount of dollars.
What are they putting into this calculator algorithm? What are they like? Obviously, the actors. Are they putting obviously what budget?
The type of genre it is.
The genre.
Who's the audience? Like who's it going to?
Right.
Yeah. Now I'm not privy to what's going on in those rooms.
Okay.
So I can't really talk to it. But what I can say is they can say, all right, Denzel Washington, if we put a film out, he's going to at least make $20 million. So if we, and I'm just making this up. I don't know what your algorithm is, Denzel. It may be more, so please forgive me. But it'd be cool if he's watching this podcast.
That'd be great. Hey, man.
But whatever talent it is, they can say this person is unknown, they're from Atlanta, or this person's unknown, they're from LA, female between this age and this age, it will yield us $250,000.
Yes.
Okay. And you're trying to sell it for $500,000, and they're gonna be like,
yeah, like the numbers aren't matching up. You can take the risk and be like, well, no, it's gonna do it, and then it not do it. But they look at obviously the past, the past represents what the future and what couldn't happen. So if you look at, that's why horror is obviously so big right now, because if you look at the cost, the budgets of how much it takes to make, and then how much they actually make. You make $1 million, you spend $1 million on making this film, and it makes $150 million. It's like, well, duh. So obviously somebody who's trying to make some money. Well, hey, let's try that model too. And if it keeps working, it's like, okay, well, why not? Why wouldn't I keep doing this? So
yeah. It's so funny you say that business is business regardless from this to whatever. Because when I was more into real estate investing and stuff, it's the same. Like when people were buying a property, it was like, it's such a pretty house. It has the lighting, but do the numbers make sense or do they not? Like it's very simple. It's not like commercial. Like I would compare like residential people buying a house to like the filmmakers, But no,
I think that's a good analogy.
Yeah.
So in your analogy, you can have the best looking house, but now you're in what zip code, what school zone, what this. So the house is perfect, but you shouldn't pay more than X amount of dollars for that house because of what's around it.
Because a lot of amateurs, they even like pretty up the prettiest house in like the worst area. It's like, why would you make $1 million house in a $500,000 area? Like, you're not going to make your return.
Exactly.
No, absolutely. Okay, so then what was the first project that you invested in after the P&A project?
The first project that I invested in after that is I invested in a lot of projects, but I would say
and what year is this too?
It was a long time ago.
Oh damn!
Okay, so you're professional now.
I would say it's when I say a long time ago, it's like 4 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
got me thinking.
Relevant,
but
relative.
After that, there've been several different projects. I can't even think of them. Could you
count them? Like, in 4 years, could you count how many you've invested in?
In 4 years, I've invested in over 20 projects. Over 20 projects. So
that's more than enough to you know what I mean?
Yeah. Nah, absolutely. you put it into perspective. You know what I'm saying?
It's a lot.
That's exactly. So, are all of them out or?
Yeah, a lot of them are out. A lot of them have done well. Without dropping any, titles. We had the #1 movie on BET a few years ago. We had the #1 holiday movie on BET. We had the #1 movie on Amazon, Amazon Prime. We've had, I've been very, very lucky, and worked with some good people, and we've been pretty successful.
I'm hearing absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm curious. Once again, however transparent you want to be, are you able to? I want to say, how do you even format this? I'm trying to.
He's asking a question. I'm pouring another drink.
Yeah.
Because it's about to get deep in here. Are you drinking some more? Let me have your glass. Come on now. I don't want to drink alone.
Great man. Wow.
Come on now.
You're amazing. Okay.
Okay, I'm trying to see the numbers. So it's like,
all right.
I think it's maybe it's two separate questions.
Okay.
Your smallest loss, biggest loss. Smallest return, biggest return. And obviously, a lot of these films are still, returning, but I guess as of right now.
Biggest loss, I haven't had a loss per se because I've been pretty lucky. So even with the projects that I haven't sold yet, they're still being, discussions are still being had to close a deal.
Mm-hmm.
So there hasn't been any project that I've been a part of that hasn't had the potential to make money, or at least is still having discussions to make money. So meaning there are no dead projects, which is great.
What do you find as a dead project?
Dead project meaning it's filmed, it's canned, no one wants it, and it's just sitting.
Okay, well, I agree with that. So if it's out though, you haven't not recouped your money.
I've recouped my money on everything that's been out.
This nigga don't take no L's.
Yeah. I've been pretty lucky. Like that's what I'm saying. I've been
It's
pretty
more than
lucky.
luck, man. At this point,
I know. Yeah, that's this. At this point,
doing.
yes. You know what I'm saying? That's strategic. That's absolutely
I've
knowing
met some lucky people in this
how
industry.
to. And
They
I
don't
met some
last
very
long.
unlucky people.
You're right. Yeah, that too.
Well, everything's been an L. You know what I'm saying?
Now, but it is what it is. Like I said, again, it's a formula, right? I'm not going to, when the first thing I do, if someone pitches me a project, I listen to the plot, read the script, and I ask myself what I personally watch it. I have to personalize everything. If I would not personally watch it, I don't care how good it is, I'm not going to invest. Because then I'm not in it, right?
Right.
But if
So there's still an aspect of
Morality. You're talking to Mr. Immoral over there. That's all I'm saying.
Turn a dollar into two, whatever it takes.
But tell me, what are you saying now?
No, I'm saying
Come on,
like
explain yourself.
So it's not 100% just the numbers. Like there's a certain level of I have to care to a degree, right?
Well, that's the entrance, right?
Right. Okay. Right. We're still
So that's the
beginning.
gatekeeper.
So, yeah. I feel
So
you. Right.
that lets me know whether or not you can go to the next conversation, and the next conversation becomes who do you have in it, right? And how much is the budget? So those two questions are really, really important. But
What
I have
kind of
to
budgets
understand.
do you normally?
I've done $1 million budgets, multi-million-dollar budgets, where I was a sole financier.
Okay.
And I've done small as little as $20,000.
Which like
He said as little.
hey, look, never mind. That's off camera. Then I know a mother that would turn even less than that.
These guys are off the chain.
Hey,
Man.
look.
Is this podcast rated? What is this?
He said as little as Marcel.
Look.
Like that's a little baby.
No, but
That's the baby. Okay.
doing a film. We're in the wild, wild west of filmmaking.
We are, man. People don't
Because
realize it. We are.
It used to be where the platforms controlled everything, and you would have to go through them, and you'd have to follow all these rules. Now it's the wild, wild west, meaning it's so open that platforms like TUBI and some of those other AVOD platforms allow you to create your own content,
Right.
do a revenue share, and just put it out there, which has now opened everything up. And how we digest content now has changed, meaning gone are the days where you're just sitting in front of a TV. I'm watching a movie on my phone. I'm watching a movie on my laptop. So the streaming aspect is really, really big. So everything has changed now. So you really have to understand that everything is fair game, and you have to be able to move with the times. When I say the Wild Wild West, shoot your own stuff, understand what they want, put it out there, you're going to make money.
So before we get too far away from it, but like the budget, so like what's the sweet spot? Because just because you spent $10 million on it, don't mean it made you 20. So
Exactly.
or like, are you finding that 50,000 or something is the sweet spot for the best returns? Or
The best, 50,000 is good. 100,000, 200,000, those are really quick turnaround time. You know, because if you think about it, a lot of these we're black men. And you know, whether you're a big fan of BET, All Black, Bounce, whatever, you're still going to have your stuff on those platforms. I don't you know, even if, you know.
Hey, we're back. So,
we are back, right? Okay, sure.
We took a little break, and now we're back, and we're, you know, doing
yes, man, the alcohol got to us all.
no glass. All right.
The Sprite. All right, so what were you asking him about the budget?
Sweet spots,
sweet
man.
spot.
Like which budgets create like the best returns, I guess. Because like I said,
mean, the larger the risk, and it is the same model in any business, right? In stocks, in bonds, in business. The higher the risk, the higher the return. Right?
I learned that in Vegas.
If I invest a $2 million, maybe $2 million in a project, I'm expecting my return to be 10 to 15 million.
Did you say 2 million? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
10 to 15
no, I just wanted to clarify that was what was said.
If my return, if I'm investing, let's say 50,000, then I expect my return to be somewhere around doubling my money.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Lower return.
Yeah,
but the turnaround time is probably quicker. You know, if you create a project, let's say for 50,000, on average, some of those platforms are starting the bid for a feature somewhere around 300,000. So let's say you shot your film for under 100. You sell it for 300, so you know your gravy is your profit is going to be 200, and depending upon how those points are distributed, you know that you've made 3 times your money. So everyone in the project can eat, right? The work for hires, they were paid up front. The people who are invested or have points, they're going to get some residual. And again, and I can't stress this enough, at the end of the day, we are licensing, guys. We are not selling.
Oh,
we are licensing.
That's a whole nother podcast.
Do not sell your projects to any platform. License it. And then when you license it specific, meaning I'm going to license it from a North America standpoint, and I'll keep the licensing for Africa or Europe or whatever. Be smart about it. It is your content, so you don't just sell it and you don't just give it away. You want to make sure that you're maximizing your dollar amount. So if a platform in the U.S. is just going to give me 300,000 for a feature film, I've got to say to myself, well, I put 100,000 in it, I made 200,000. Okay, I'm great, but is that really the markup that you want?
Right. The
markup that you want is, you want to be Walmart, you want to be Amazon. So the markup that they do is they do like 800% markup, right? So that means you're only hitting a little piece of it. So now you go over to Europe, you want to license it there. You go to Africa, you want to license it there. You want to go to Asia, you want to license it there. Guess what? They love American content, especially if it's done correctly. So that 300,000 times 4, now you're at 1.2. How you feeling good about yourself?
Yeah, well, licensing thing's a whole nother. I don't even think that's a whole nother conversation.
That's another. I'll come back for that conversation because that's a real conversation, right? Right now, the flavor of the month is every artist is talking about selling their masters. Justin Timberlake just sold his for $200 million. Justin Bieber just sold his for $500 million. You know, T.I. is saying don't sell your masters. License it, right?
Okay.
So everybody now is you got some people who are saying the right formula is take the money because you don't know if the money's going to be there tomorrow, and then you've got some seasoned people like T.I. who can afford to say I'm not going to sell it, but I'll license it, or even I'll license it to you and it reverts back to me after a certain amount of time. Right.
I agree with that too, but also sometimes you gotta look at the messenger and not always the message. I don't think T.I. is in that. I don't think T.I. would get what he wants for his masters, especially with the numbers that are being thrown out. So it's like I take that into consideration. If somebody like Justin Bieber or Justin Timberlake were offered that and they were like, no, we turned that down because they want to, keep it and they want to license it for a certain amount of years. And so it's like using that example as T.I., it's like I couldn't fully.
I feel you. I know what you're saying.
If somebody probably offered him like some T.I. hate
20. No, come on now.
I wouldn't say that because I'm from here too. I ain't no hate on T.I.
I love.
What's your favorite T.I. song?
What you know?
Okay. All right.
What you know is my man. Yeah, that every time that motherfucker. Come on, that's my jam. Right. But I'm just like his catalog is. Hey, we'll give you 30 million. You know what I'm saying? And T.I. not about to take 30 million for his catalog. So it's just that. Whatever. I like that. Sometimes it's the messenger, not the message. I don't disagree with the message though.
It's a good message.
Yeah.
Let me ask you about back to the filmmaking stuff. So, have you ever seen like work from your position as a producer, executive producer, EP? Like, does work for hires? Do they ever matter? Minus actors, obviously, but
what do you mean by that?
Like, obviously. So I'm trying to think like on a. Obviously, actors matter. Obviously, maybe the director matters. But I'm like, have you ever said, oh, man, this DP or this editor is going to be on the film project, so I've got, so I'm going to.
Yes.
Oh, you have?
Absolutely. Okay. Because what we, in the film industry, it's so ancestral. Right, there's a lot of incest going. Everybody's sleeping with the same people.
What the fuck are we talking
about? I've never heard incest used that way, but I know what you mean by the word's definition. It's just weird hearing it.
So when I say ancestral, meaning other places, the same editor you're going to use, you're going to use, and guess what? They start to look the same, and that's what I mean when I say ancestral. You're supposed to be able to find your different look, your different thing. So you're going to have a common look for a black film if you're not careful. Right? No, because everybody's using the same editor, they're using the same DP, they're using the same director, and now you've got content which might be great when you write it, but when you produce it, it looks very similar. When you asked me the question about a DP, if you get a DP that is not in that pool, now guess what? You've created something that everybody's like,
more risk.
It's so new. And no, it's not new. It's just that they use someone outside of the village. So to answer your question,
do you think that's wrong?
Absolutely.
Or do you think that's bad?
It can be because people want variety when they look at a film. I want to be entertained. I'm saying
using the ancestral people. Like, do you think that's bad?
I think it can be if you don't. Well, what's the goal? If the goal is to entertain people and make your project the best that it can be, and part of the ingredient to do that is introducing something unique, you're going to have new people. So, yes, I think it's wrong if it's going to compromise your creativity.
No, I agree that it's bad. I was trying to see where your position of it was on, like, because I have to use BT as an example. Like, I've always been a big disagreeer of BET's like promos and stuff. Like, BET's promotionals and commercials, they all, for every show, for everything, whether it be a drama, whether it be a comedy, it all looks the same. And I'm just like, I strongly feel BET needs to change their promotionals to, you know, look different and get out of that norm. But that's what I thought of when you were talking about like the whole incestuous stuff and everybody using the same thing. Everything starts to look the exact same, and it's like, yeah, you don't want that. Like, why not have shit look, you know,
very different?
Yeah, but, variety.
So I would use a DP that one of the projects that we use a DP that is a mainstream DP, meaning it's not a brother. No knock on any brothers that are DPs.
Look, we get it.
But he came with a different vision on how he wanted to shoot that we weren't used to.
Yes.
And it changed.
Can we get an example? Like, what are you seeing from the brothers that you ain't seeing?
Now, if I do this, brothers gonna be like, "Yeah, I do that shot. I'll
give you.
I'll let you do it.
Yeah, let me give.
Yeah.
But Ireland. So the DP that I love to use. He's an Irish guy. We met, like, he was a foreign exchange student in 2017. We met, hit it off, and he's done 3 of my films. How he shoots the films is so, you know what I'm saying, so unique. It's so different than he shot the films that I've done 10 films. You know which films that he's shot because they all look so different, so unique. The angles, the movement that he used, the lighting that he used, it all looks so freaking unique. So to me, that's kind of what.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. I'm gonna ask you the same question. Who's your favorite filmmaker?
That's a question right there. I always say John Hughes.
Okay, who's your favorite filmmaker? Or do you have one?
I don't know if
I hope
have
you're not
one.
going this one.
No, because
I don't know.
And the reason why I'm asking that is my favorite filmmaker is not a brother, and I'm
that's the route I thought you was going with. And I'm like,
wouldn't be me.
Damn, bro.
You know, I love Guy Ritchie. Guy Ritchie is
great.
Yeah,
whatever he puts out, I'm there. Now I see other filmmakers that I really love. You know, your Spike Lee's, I love them, and I'll go out and support them. But my own personal preference, like when Guy Ritchie puts something out, I'm the first one in the theaters to watch it because I know what I'm going to get. I'm going to get something that I didn't expect. He's going to shoot it so uniquely and differently that it's going to be
yeah, which, I mean, this is such a sad conversation to have, but it's like I completely agree with you because even when I use Ireland, like Ireland, he stays in Ireland. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so he lives there. So
that's why they call him.
Yeah.
He's his real.
Yeah, it's his real name.
Brothers will give you any kind of name. They call me Chicago, bro.
You know what I'm saying? Where you from? You know what I'm saying? That's your name.
Call you that.
But we fly him out here when we have the budget to be able to. We fly him out here to come and film the films rather than me, finding somebody here in Atlanta because he has that value. You know what I'm saying? He has that uniqueness, and obviously we've hit it off as a director and DP. So it's like I would much rather do that than even find somebody who's probably even cheaper in Atlanta just because of that uniqueness. Because I understand how important it is.
I just thought maybe from like I didn't know how deep it went from the top level. Like EP obviously probably been at the top, right? So I didn't know if they.
I think that relates to marketability, though. I
mean, like, it does. It does. I just didn't know how much. You answered it as if like, it like most definitely matters, which is great to hear.
It does.
Didn't know what to expect.
In business they always have a what do you call it? In hierarchy table. Right, so you got the CEO, you got this, you got that, you got that.
Right.
In film, people get confused on who is the boss.
Yes.
People think.
hey, man, you do this.
Man, bro, it's for real.
Wow.
Now, and it's changing. It's really changing because people think like the director is the boss. The director is not the boss. I don't care. And no disrespect to any director.
No.
Because the director is in charge of the creativity, making sure that the vision of the writer is coming on film. But the director is not the boss.
Nope.
The director reports to
the producer or the EP.
Yeah, or the
Depends.
EP. The EP is the boss.
EP's boss.
Typically, the EP is the boss, meaning the executive producer is responsible for funding the project. Whoever's writing the checks is typically the boss.
Makes the
producer reports to
the EP.
The director can report to the producer or the EP, and everybody flows up from there. And then sometimes it's interchangeable depending upon if you have an EP or you have a studio that's doing it. Then you might have someone from the studio. That's why you might have a studio representative who's listed as an EP, because the studio is really the EP.
Right.
But now they have identified, because the EP title has been so diluted, because everyone now can say you're an EP on a project because, and you didn't put any money, you didn't do this, you didn't do, but that was your go-to. So now they call it the showrunner. If you're a showrunner, you're really an EP, but meaning you're responsible for the show, which is now you have the showrunner, the EP, the producer. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the showrunner is an EP. So the hierarchy is EP, producer, director, so on and so forth.
I get what you're saying, but going back to you saying like it being diluted, it's, if you look at older movies, you may have 2, 3, 4, maybe 5, executive producers. I literally I think it was Guardians. I just saw Guardians, and
was it good? I said I want to see it.
Yeah, no, it's fucking amazing. Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
Have you seen it?
I have not. I might see it this Tuesday.
Yeah, no, it was worth it. It was great. It was definitely the best one of the trilogy. Might pull on your heartstrings a little bit if you're emotional.
See,
I ain't no bitch.
Spoiler alert. I don't even like this dude because he's messing the movie up for me, man. You supposed to say spoiler alert or something.
What? Because of emotions?
That means somebody died.
That's not what I said.
No, that's what you said.
You can pull a lot out of heartstrings, but
I don't want to. Spoiler alert! I'll let you know.
I'm not gonna say
if you want to know.
I don't want to know. That's what I said. I just want to see it.
Somebody could have got shot. You know what I'm saying? They made it. They survived.
We from the hood. If somebody gets shot, we ain't really tripping. So somebody died in this joint, but now you trying to clean. It's okay. All right, we're gonna talk about. I'm gonna see it and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, watch it, man. All right, man. Whatever. So when you on that movie, I counted. It was 16 executive producers.
Wow. Well,
and there's no fucking way that all of those people were actually executive producers. But once again, the more you get into this business, a lot of people, even one of the producers that I used to work with and stuff, he was so heavy on just having that executive producer title, even though he wasn't really doing executive producer shit. He just wanted his name as executive producer because it's once again
that is the default title that you give someone who is, maybe they have influence in the film, they can help the film because of their name, and this is, so you call them an executive producer. But did they do any heavy lifting?
Yeah.
Did they do any lifting at all?
At all. I just give it's ego to me. It's like it's pretty much an egotistical thing. I'm big on credit. Like I'll give credit where it's deserved, but obviously sometimes you gotta
so
just
on your last film,
film,
how many executive producers did you have on your last film?
2.
You and who?
The other nigga.
Did he put money in? Okay.
Hey. All right.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know. Yes.
No shade.
No shade.
No shade.
Yeah.
Hold on. What film are you talking about? Hold on. Right? Wrong. Okay. Cool.
Oh.
I didn't know which one you pulling from. So
I was pulling from No Disrespect.
Okay, right, bet.
I think
I thought you were too, right? Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
I
get the muddiness. All right. Like down
talking about the last film we just did a film together. Right. We were like executive producers. No, but yeah, and then it's another independent filmmaker that I know out here. He had on his short film, he had like maybe 12 executive producers on it, and this is.
On a short film?
On an indie short film.
Indie short.
And so I'm like, if you donated $10 to it, he said, hey.
So now he said that. But
I kept just saying, what? That makes no sense
Can't
to
tell
me,
a
man.
camera from a battery.
This is what I will say to clean some of that up, is that, there's more than money that's sometimes needed in a film to make it successful. Right?
I feel you.
So
I do. I do.
So you have someone that writes the check, but maybe you have someone that can get you into film festivals, or someone that can have you in the room to talk to.
Absolutely.
Platform. So you got to put in perspective. 12 executive producers I find that hard to believe that everybody has a role.
I saw it. It was crazy.
At the end of the day, if there's 2, 3, 4 executive producers, to me, on a project, that makes sense.
Yeah, no, to me even if you're just talking about investing and you don't have one sole investor, you may have 2 or 3 different investors. Like, that makes sense. But when you get into those double digits or high single digits, it's like, all right, I'm curious on, well, what did you do? What did you do? What did you do? Like, how did we get to these titles? Well, hey man, where we at? We at a motherfucking
on time.
Oh, it's not even as long as I thought, actually.
Oh, bet. Good.
It's only like 15 minutes. Yeah, I thought.
Man, we gonna hold you till
It's okay.
Till you say I got to go.
The beautiful thing is that we have some people in the audience that are actors and actresses.
Come on, live audience.
Come on now.
Hey, nice to see y'all.
And they are doing their thing, and so there might be an opportunity, to find out, what they're doing, what they got going on.
Oh, look at that! Anybody in the audience want to come on?
Come on down when we're down here.
We're gonna make really good use of the time and make sure that.
Wow. Hey, folks, you never know who's out there.
You never know, man. But it looks like we have
stay tuned. Stay tuned, guys. Because we have multiple. Trust me.
Hey, you.
There's a lot of talent in Atlanta.
There is, but one special lady, I think.
One special person in the audience she's jumping up and down trying to
just
come.
be patient. We're coming.
Yeah, she's come down the steps.
Let us finish this first.
Oh man, did she trip? Oh,
don't oversell it. But we may have something. We may have something.
Oh man, well, somebody get her some help, man. She tripped down those steps and she wasn't able to make it. But next time,
do we have ice?
Heck yeah, we got ice.
I'm still trying to
be right back.
Get the brother cake. Is this ice in that cup?
Is there ice in that cup?
It's not. Oh wait,
there might be ice.
Yeah. I had put some ice in that cup.
You want some fresh ice?
No, I'm chill. Yeah, I could work with that.
Hey man, you show now for real.
I'm
There's a
good.
little water in there too.
It's okay. Like I said, we good.
Man is not a bartender.
I'm not. I applied one time. They told me no.
Okay. We're drinking 1942 with these guys.
1942, man.
This is like what's that other podcast? Drink Kings. What do they call it?
Drink Champs.
Drink Champs.
Drink Champs. There we go.
Yep, it's Drink Kings. Just agreeing with shit.
I knew that. Shut up. Anyway.
Well, we for 30 more minutes, man. Hey, so
this is where it starts. Perfect. Yeah, I'm trying to tell you.
This is where the bullshit
A year
starts.
from now, when people are lining up to get on this podcast,
Come
I
on
could
now.
be like, yo, I was one of the first on this podcast.
Fucking
We
right.
did some grimy stuff.
No,
We broke out. I mean, what I mean, grimy stuff. We broke out the 1942. We drank a little bit. We talked about a lot of stuff. And
pop bottles in this bitch, man. Hey, talking about how much I think this costs? It's a $2,000 bottle, son.
He's overselling it again, but that's okay.
Well, don't come to my club because that's how much this bottle costs. 2 stacks, nigga, if you want the Don Julio. Well, so you also you're a serial entrepreneur, so you have 2 lounges, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I do. I do have shameless plug. So Blue Lagoon Bar and Bistro in Buckhead, and then also Havana Lounge in Sandy Springs, which is also Atlanta. So very good vibe. Always, always a good time.
I don't care. Is there more than one Havana?
There is. There's Havana Club and Havana Lounge.
Okay, the Havana Club
is on Piedmont in Atlanta.
Okay,
in Buckhead.
That's the one.
And then Havana Lounge is off of Roswell Road.
Gotcha. Okay. Because I live drive as well, and I be dropping a lot of people off at freaking. Honestly, I feel like both. But I do remember the
good cleanup. I like that.
Yeah, that was a good cleanup. I was waiting for him to say the wrong one.
Yeah, I be dropping them off at the motherfucking Havana Club. They never, but I like it. It's like both. Okay, cool. He's quick on his feet. We're gonna keep him around. We're gonna keep him around.
So what got you into that? What made you be like, okay, I want to start some lounges? Did you think that?
No, it goes back to the story we were saying earlier. I wanted to do something local where I didn't travel as much. And I had a buddy of mine. It's a really cool story. I had a buddy of mine who was a part owner in a cigar bar. and it seemed like that cigar bar was always half empty.
Real quick, cigar bar, you just go in there and smoke cigars.
You smoke cigars, but you also have a restaurant aspect to it, and then you have a full bar.
Cigar bars are dope. I just went
really
to a few
is,
recently.
man.
They pretty chill
smoke
for
cigars?
grown men. Occasionally.
But you don't even
Just
have to
for
smoke
fun
cigars
occasion.
because
Right.
it's the vibe, right?
Yeah.
It's the type of person who's going to smoke cigars that's going to walk in might be I mean, they were in there playing chess. I mean, you had a couple in there going at it playing chess. You had another couple standing up talking about art. You got another. It's the vibe,
Yeah, man.
You know,
It's
and
dope.
it's more than likely people who will challenge you intellectually.
Right. Yeah.
So he had a cigar bar, and his partner, I remember this very vividly, went over to England. And so I had just come over from Charlotte, and I resigned from a position that I had in Charlotte as a research doctor, and I said, I'm going to come back to Atlanta. And he said, hey, so since you, and before my other position started, he said, hey, can you come by and, just hang out with me because my partner's out of town. I said, okay. And I had thrown parties, so I was familiar with hosting and, bartending. So I was in there, and at the end of the night, I was looking at the numbers, and I saw what he was making. And I was like, this thing looks empty. And he was like, I said, is this right? And he was like, yeah, this is right. I said, this is what you make? He's like, yeah. And I just immediately said, hey, do you want to open one up with me? And he said, yeah. So that's how I ended up getting into the restaurant business, because I had no idea how lucrative a restaurant, especially if you have a good model, can be.
Yeah,
and
I was about to say, a
They
restaurant.
really
I
sell
got
it that
into
they're
the
not making
restaurant.
money. So
A lot of them are not making money.
Oh,
That's
okay.
probably the hardest business to
That's-
start.
that's
a
what I
restaurant,
hear, yeah,
because they
restaurants
close,
are-
I understand why they close, because most people who go into a business, they don't want to put their sweat equity in. Right. So
There's a lot of business people.
Yeah.
So if I go into a business, I open a restaurant. First thing I want to do is act like a boss. I don't
Right.
want to be there. I don't want to
Exactly.
cook. I don't want to
Exactly.
clean. I want to hire everybody. That ain't how to do it.
They go back to EP and filmmaking. A lot of them want to just
So you
be on
got to
set,
grind,
you
roll
know?
up your sleeves. Once you start making money, then you hire the people to help you out. But people don't understand that you have to put in the work first. And so we put in the work, and we became the #1 night spot in Atlanta for several years running. So we did our
God
thing.
damn.
Yeah.
That's saying a lot in Atlanta.
That's
They
I
come
guess
and
it
go
is.
around here, you know.
Yeah, man.
Man.
Knock on wood, we've been rocking. We still open 6.5 years, so we've been doing our thing. So
That's good.
No, yeah, no,
That's great.
congratulations. Yeah, that's fucking
Blue Lagoon Bar and Bistro. I'm gonna see you there tonight.
see it. Right, yeah, with
Yeah.
$2,000
It doesn't matter what night. He's overselling it. This is like $1,000 at Blue Lagoon. So.
Yeah, that's not much better, but yeah,
Okay.
that's I mean, that's pretty expensive.
Sorry, that nigga cheap. Don't even.
$1,000.
Yeah, that's true,
I got you. I'll give you 10% off. It's $900.
That's
I'm gonna give you a discount.
not selling me, but somebody out there,
But he's drinking it, so
Hey,
he's
this is
not. I'm not
amazing.
selling.
Like, yo, this is great.
Okay.
Just, I'm not the right audience for it.
Boy, no, this is a Four Loco nigga over here, boy.
Bottom shelf E&J, you know.
So I'm
The
surrounded.
Christian Brothers, come on now.
Oh,
They
hey.
mentioned E&J, Christian Brothers.
What's the other cheap one?
Oh,
Evan, something
man.
Evan or something like.
Goes to Kroger and get the $10.
Get ready for the
bottle.
headache. Get ready for the headache.
No, you're right. Living working overtime over here. Yeah.
Wake up in a different country, nigga. Man, okay, so are there any other entrepreneur endeavors we should know about? We lounge, we're investing in films.
I want to say there's a lot of different things that we're looking forward to seeing in 2023, 2024. So we've got a lot of projects, a lot of film projects coming up. And I'm just going to give cursory level information on some of them.
What's the word you used?
Yeah,
Hey, all right. I'm not the only one.
No, I admit I'm
cursory?
retarded.
cursory.
Spell it.
That's that PhD level.
High level information.
Okay,
we
high level.
talked. Okay, so we talked about ancestral. You
We
guys
did.
gave me a lot
I got
of
that one. No,
y'all
I
gave me a lot of slack on that.
Oh, well, slightly deserved, but
I've only seen that word used on Pornhub. I'm gonna be honest with you, so it's kind of like weird. They
Oh my
hear
God.
it outside.
we
of-
don't want to know what you search, man.
Look, I mean, dang, I ain't the only one. How many of y'all seen that word using? Come on, all right, like, come on, audience, anybody?
Okay, all right. So this is what I'll say. Instead of
cursive.
high level,
No, let's
just
keep
high
it
level information,
Right.
is what we're going to.
My bad. Right. Curse.
Help.
I know, come on, man. High level information.
Okay.
What is what were you talking about again?
Dang.
Said you have some things coming up in 23.
We have some things coming up. So there's a couple of things. So we've got a project with Chili from TLC.
Hey!
I'm a big fan of TLC. Man, they go way back.
Okay.
Top R&B female.
Favorite TLC song?
It's got to be Red Light.
Red Light District?
Yeah, Red Light. I mean, y'all can have the waterfalls, y'all can have all of that, but Red Light is sexy.
Yeah, that's some freaky
it's,
shit.
It's cool. Yeah.
All right.
Well, then
Say a lot about
you
yourself.
getting a snapshot of what I.
All right.
All right. Hey. Okay.
All right. You said it,
I'm
not
sure
us.
the audience wanted to know that. We were okay without it, but I'm sure the audience
I have
woo.
no idea what I'm doing here.
Hey, man.
Nigerian brother over here.
All right, so she's like I'm working with Chili, and she's a health nut, and she's
explains
dating a
somebody.
guy, Matthew Lawrence, which is a cool guy. You remember him from
Fucking right, we remember him.
from where?
It's like there's three brothers, right? So he
Yes,
was Boy
yes,
Before Alcohol.
okay, you know.
Yeah, Joey Lawrence,
Exactly,
Matthew Lawrence,
exactly.
And what's the little brother's name? That's
He's the less famous brother.
the little brother.
Yeah.
Well, he's my generation. Like he came on Disney Channel. He had like a bunch of Disney Channel movies, but I don't forgot this man's name.
So again, Matthew Lawrence is dating Chili, and they're together, and they put together a reality show that's really, really good. Matthew is really good with his hands, so he's building. Chili is good with, eating healthy and giving back to the community. So they're putting something together, and I'm producing and EPing it, and we've got a project that's coming out this year. So we're really
Like a reality
excited
show?
about it. It's a reality show.
Gotcha.
Really
Is this your first time doing a reality show?
Is it? No.
Do you like them? Reality shows?
Unscripted. Well, so it's unscripted, right? So
Right.
reality shows we call unscripted, and feature films or even episodics, which are series, we call scripted.
Right.
So just for the vernacular for everyone out there. So I would say, yes, I do like unscripted, especially now with the writer's strike. So now with the writer's strike, everybody's looking for everything that's unscripted because people who are in the union are not, they're not. playing that game.
Yeah. It's
So
nice.
everybody's looking for content now because we're currently.
It's about to be a lot of reality type shit coming.
Unscripted stuff is the key.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So before we get out of here, could I pitch something to you?
You want to pitch?
Actually, well, before I do that,
That would be cool.
reaction
He's
was-
gonna-
No.
What the fuck
It was
was
just
that?
him settling in for it.
It seemed like you're like, here we go. Type,
No,
it's
it's just like, oh,
Be
wow.
honest. Is that how you
No,
feel?
it's like just preparing for what it may be.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Support.
Yeah.
If people wanted to pitch stuff to you, could they? Are you just like open? Hey, come pitch me some shit.
I mean, what's interesting is people who pitched me for this year projects pitched me last year.
Oh, okay.
So there's really a delay in how we exchange. So if right now earlier this year I said I'm not going to take any new projects until fourth quarter, but I'm actually totally booked for 2023. So any projects that are being pitched to me now is slated for the 2024 calendar. So that would be interesting to see the pitch and how the do's and don'ts of pitching.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. But you didn't really answer the question as far as like.
So yes, you can pitch
people,
me.
Well, no, I mean, are you open to just people pitching to you like projects
people
and stuff?
pitch me all the time. I get emails all the time.
Oh,
I get text messages all the time. I get people pitching me all the time.
That sounds
How
like
are
a
you with
headache.
it? You like, hey, that suck, get out of my face, or are you really nice about it? Like, that sounds good.
I think I'm at the point where it matters to me, so I try. And guys, if I haven't responded, please forgive me. But I try to be respectful and, consider each pitch. But some of them are just not in my wheelhouse, so it's not going to go.
Like what? What's not in your wheelhouse?
I don't. Like I said, the litmus test for me is if I can watch it, I'll invest in it. If somebody pitches me something and I feel like I'm not going to watch it, I'm not going to invest in it.
Right, like what? Well, I guess I don't want you to recall certain scripts that you didn't read. Like I wouldn't watch that shit.
Yeah, I can do one.
Yeah, but I'm saying like if you what's something you've seen or read and you're like, I wouldn't be interested in like watching that.
I don't like where the show doesn't end on a high note, meaning the person that's being bullied doesn't win. The bully wins and this and that. I'm still left with a bad feeling. So I like, the number one storyline in Hollywood since the inception of Hollywood is boy finds girl, boy loses girl, and boy finds girl again. That is the number one theme that you'll see in all of the movies.
Come on, social.
Take notes.
Fucking right.
But for me, I like ending in a high note, just like that. Boy finds girl again.
Yeah.
So if the show is on a down note where I'm leaving and my energy is still wanting, I don't necessarily like I hate watching those. It's hard to watch those films for me.
I agree. It's a filmmaker friend I have that you probably shouldn't meet then, because all of his films, he's like he
on
doesn't
a down note.
want. Yeah,
and that's cool because there's an audience for that. It's just not for me.
For you.
Right,
Got you.
understand.
Okay, so here we go. We're going to do a live pitch, man, right here. I'm going to try to pitch you a film, and you just let me know if this would be something that you would be interested in investing in.
Live pitch. All right, let's go.
Fucking right. Here we go. All right, so the genre is a horror comedy. It is called Jarrell's Girls. The synopsis is a guy who was dating 6 women who were all friends. They all find out, and then they kill him. And then somebody starts going around and killing them off one by one, so they're trying to figure out who is doing it. That's the log line. The budget ranges, depending on.
It's got to be about 50,000.
Got to be. Hey,
what's the budget? I know my business. What's the budget?
All right, starting was 50 at the start of it. Ranging from
what's the budget?
The budget initially was 55.
Okay.
All right. I'm just saying.
Do I know my shit?
No, I'm not saying you don't.
All right. So 55. Let's stay there.
Okay, but budget is 55,000. As far as who is in it.
hey, I'm
on a
just
horror
as
film.
curious
You don't have to have anyone notable in it.
Yeah. Well, there was what.
That's so true.
That was my sentence I was gonna say. So boom, that's who was in it. As far as shooting days is 14 shooting days. The turnaround will be less than 2 months, as I would be editing it myself. And then the plan for distribution and marketing would be first to take it to AFM, American Film Market, and then try to get it distributed through any of the distribution channels there or the studios there. Once again, because it is a horror comedy. First off, the horror genre is freaking huge right now, and then you just add in a little comedy, and then the 6 main leads are very beautiful women that will be cast. I feel like between the beautiful women that are cast and then the genre of horror, I feel like the marketability of the movie is quite undeniable as long as the film is made good.
Okay. So I have a couple questions.
Oh,
Absolutely.
The 6 people that are in it, are they all African American or is it?
Thank you. No, they are not. So there's 2 black, 2 white, an Asian, and then a Hispanic. Because also the international aspect of this film is freaking huge. Because once again, horror translates through all cultures, through all countries, through all, I was about to say pesos, but money. Oh, wow. Translates through all types of people, same as well as women. People love women. People love the horror genre. And once again, if you put in a diverse cast, that just makes the marketability for the film even bigger.
Okay. So I'm going to ask specific to the script. The script has been written?
Yes.
Okay. Who's the last ethnic group to die?
I would have never thought to ask. That's a good question.
Spoiler alert. I might bleep that out.
And I'm going to tell you, that is so cool because that's not the model. So you're flipping the model, right?
Yes.
Black people die first.
Well, white people die first.
No.
Oh, you said the motto is,
The motto is black people die first, but
right.
in yours,
the white people die first. And then it's mentioned in the movie, like it's a little joke in there, like, oh, well, at least all the white people die first. You know what I'm saying? We still alive. We good.
All right. And
side note, so you can confirm that there's a model that black people are supposed to die first in these movies. Is how it works.
No. I'm saying from what I've seen, don't put it on me. From what I've seen in the movies, traditionally, black people die first.
Oh, okay. You've seen it traditionally.
Yeah,
we've all seen
it's not like we know that's the model. Okay, black guy has to die first. It's just like you know that. Oh, well, black guy's there. Who's killed
sounds
first?
like a model to me.
But that will like turn it on its head, right? So you got the white people dying first, and I love white people. I got some white friends.
Oh, we all love white people. Come on, man.
You got some white friends?
Yeah, we all got some white friends.
You don't even know you got white friends?
I've got some I don't know.
You don't know if you got white friends. You don't have white friends. You have white associates. White friends. I've got white friends.
I don't have a lot of friends.
I can say my white friends right now. Do you have white friends?
Hey, man, I have white friends.
Yeah, me too.
No.
My DP is white.
That's right, Ireland.
But is he your friend?
Yes, he's one of my
so you
closest
got white
friends.
friends.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, no, yeah.
That's Ireland?
He wasn't there last night. But you know me.
Oh, okay. He's not here in the country, man. Like what?
Ireland is my friend now, and I don't even know. I haven't met him.
Ireland
But
is
he's
one of my closest friends, definitely, without a doubt.
That is true.
Ireland is your friend.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, so to me that makes sense. If you flip the model on its head, and you've got the black people who are probably, staying throughout the duration of the film, white people dying first, that makes sense. So because it's different, and people want to see different, not the same model over and over again. So I've got one other question. So how long is it going to take to shoot, and do you have a distribution deal? Meaning, do you have someone who's committed to buying the project when you're done?
14 days to shoot, and no distribution deal. That would be to go on the American film market.
Not having a distribution deal means that as an investor, I have to gamble a little bit more. If you tell me that you have a distribution deal, then I'm more even what they call a letter of guarantee, meaning that they're committed to buying the project. From a investor standpoint, I know that I'm going to get my money back. So you don't have a distribution outlet, you don't have a deal, but your model is good. So I know it's a 50-50 gamble for me. So now I'm looking at the person. Is he serious? Is he coming to me on time during meetings? Is he coming late? I look at that because I don't know if you're going to be good or not. So I have to figure out, is he a good businessman? Because now it comes down to business. Because if he does it right, we can make money. But if he's a slacker, I'm going to lose my money. So I would set up a couple of business meetings with him. If he starts coming late, I won't invest. If he comes on time, if he's on his shit, I'll invest. So I would set you up. I would set up about 3 meetings with you and see when you come and how you perform.
What do you you just kind of answered it, but what are you looking for in these 3 meetings? Obviously on time, obviously if you can perform.
If you're on time, if you can answer my questions, if you're honest with me, if you don't know, I don't expect you to know everything, but if you are honest with me, if you say, hey, I don't know that, but I'll get back to you,
I can figure it out.
I respect that. But if you bullshit me, I know right away. I was like, this dude is going to bullshit me throughout the whole project. I don't want to do business with him. But I would respect you saying, hey, I don't know, but I'll get back to you, D. I got you, man. Give me a day or so. I'll get an answer. If you come back to me in a day, I'm like, this is a real dude. I'm going to invest in this shit.
All right. So
when's the first meeting?
That's
the next question.
Hey, you done with the 1942,
Hey man, thanks everybody for joining in. When's the first meeting? You know.
Man, well,
so you said it's 55,000. And when are you planning to shoot?
next year.
Next year. When?
Next year, right? Of course.
Like next year when?
March. I want to shoot. I want the weather to be nice, but it's like, you know, you really can't fucking tell with Georgia
I'll
weather.
tell you what. If you shoot in June of next year, I'll give you the 55,000.
Okay, we're shooting in June.
If we're shooting in June, guys, you heard it first. I got your project 55, but you got to come to terms.
You don't care nothing about that, so sound like y'all shooting June. As long as you give them that 55, you want 99 points.